What's up, guys? I'm Crystal Lee Naomi, aka Jasmine Borders on Tyler Perry's Sisters. Be sure to subscribe to the Haves and the Have-Nots review for not only reviews on the Haves and the Have-Nots, but also on Sisters. And while you're at it, give your girl a follow on Instagram at Crystal Lee Naomi. And I'll see you every Wednesday at 9, only on BET.
Yeah, it's been quite a while since I used that intro to a Sisters video. And I know it got to the point where, Jeremy, you don't have to use it at the beginning of every single Sisters video. Only do it for the ones that are Jasmine focused. Yeah, that in hindsight, that would have made the most sense. But, oh well, live and learn, right? But, Sisters fans, we are here to talk about a character I have not talked about in quite a while. Jasmine, who is someone you may or may not know that I had a crush on since season 1. But that's not really the point of this video. So for the Fatima, specifically Fatima fans, please don't come at me in the comments. This isn't one of those things where I'm wrecking a character for the sake of somebody who I like. Because I like and love both Fatima and Jasmine. But I feel like it's interesting to point this out because while doing some research for one of my videos, it's a video I have coming up. Don't expect it anytime soon. Maybe it'll come in the next few days. It really depends. But it's just kind of a light recap video of everything we know about the Fatima series so far. You know, I'm just trying to get as much as the cast information as I can. Like, I already know the characters in the show. I'm trying to line up the actors who play the characters. But if you have any insight and you want to, contribute to the video, feel free to hit me up. Social media links are in the description below as always. But I wanted to talk about something in regards to how, when you really think about it, Jasmine was the original Fatima. Fatima is kind of Jasmine 2.0. And I'll explain why in this video. And like I said before, this isn't me bashing Fatima in favor of Jasmine. It's just me noticing some comparisons. That's pretty much it. So before moving forward, make sure you take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Hit subscribe. That way you help the channel reach 200,000 subscribers. Sadly, we are soon to be less than 20% subscriber watch time on the channel, meaning that less than 20% of the views come from people who are actually subscribed to the channel. So if you're in the majority, nearly 80% of people who watch my content but haven't subscribed yet, please change that. The channel will get to 400,000 subscribers in a day if that happened. But hit the bell icon and select all. That way you keep up to date when I post content. And let's jump into it. The way I look at the Fatima Jasmine thing, I'm going to use a haves and have not example here. After Amanda was killed off, and remember as she was, getting closer to that final episode, she was really deteriorating mentally and falling into a headspace of just madness, craziness, paranoia, violent tendencies. And then after she died, it felt like, when you think about it, imagine if Amanda had like a parasite, or Marvel comic fans will know, a symbiote, aka Venom. Like she had something on her that attached to her body that contributed to her nastiness and craziness. As soon as she died, that thing detached from her and then reattached itself to Veronica. Or like basically the transfer of energy from one party to the next. Who can play that game, movie fans will know that reference. It's like as soon as that character got killed off, Tyler took the bitter evilness of Amanda and kind of transferred that over to Veronica. And I felt like at that point in the series, it was no longer the Candace show. I think for me personally, Candace lost her luster when she had Jim in that war room, downstairs in the basement of where Warlock lived at and had him tied up to the chair and all that stuff. I feel like at that point, that's when Candace just kind of lost the bad bitch title, and then it went over to Veronica. I feel like I need to rewatch those episodes to really just relive those moments, but I just felt like at that point, Jim pointed out, he's like, you always think you're the smartest one in the room. little girl, you're playing in the big leagues, you don't know what you're doing. And it's so true because we saw her get screwed over like 5 more times in the series where she thought she had the upper hand but then loses everything and, well, she ended up dead. With Veronica, we just saw a completely different tone of her character occur, from tearing up the Sarandon Hotel bar, getting people beaten up. Now look at Sistas. Jasmine was Amanda to an extent in regards of being a character who took my breath away in the first episode the moment I saw her. But then from there, she really started to form a quote-unquote relationship with Andy, kind of in the same vein that Amanda did to Candace, without realizing that Candace was using her to get to her father, in the same way that Jasmine was kind of unaware that Andy was messing around with her husband. See the parallels here? Fatima had a minor role in season 1. She made a couple appearances here and there. And then in season 2, where she had more material, it was more focused on, hey, let's establish Fatima's relationship with the other women, how she compares to them. And I remember when I first saw Fatima with the girls in season 2, I'm like, okay, she has kind of the sensitive, caring side of Sabrina. She has the wild side and streak of Danny, and keeps it real. She and Karen, they hit it off. It's like, hey, I like your dress. Yeah, I like yours too. So they really didn't have that much of a connection. But, well, when I say connection, I mean, there really wasn't much of Karen's personality I saw in Fatima. I guess you could say that she's as blunt as Karen at times, but not to the point where you feel like she sliced and diced you with her tongue when she's laying you out. Which to me sounds a bit kinky, but anyway, then you have her in the same career field as Andy, so that's about it. But then as the season went on, you really saw that she explained to Hayden and Zach that I have a crazy side. And then from there, we eventually find out about her. Well, technically, you only know this if you watch the live stream that she did with Duvall, Zach, and pretty much explained that Tyler let me make up my own backstory for Fatima, coming from a drug family and everything, and she's studying law in order to help her family if they ever get in legal issues. And we saw in the finale where she took out the brass knuckles and then got those guys to beat up Hayden. Tell me that doesn't remind you of Veronica and what she had done to Jeffrey, where Quincy was sent over to Jeffrey's apartment. He took out the brass knuckles and then beat the hell out of Jeffrey to get some information. And then when you look at Jasmine was the girl who was popping up like Amanda was to Andy all the time. And, Amanda did that to Professor Cannon and the haves and the have-nots. And, of course, she was a scorned ex, just like Veronica was to David. And then when you look at Fatima, she has those tendencies where she just rolled up on Hayden, jumped in his car, just like Jasmine did to Andy in her apartment, just like Jasmine did to Andy in the parking lot. Again, Hayden was victim, just like, Andy was when Jasmine rolled up on her. So when you look at it from that perspective, I feel like Jasmine being written out of the show, it's like the elements that made her character were kind of given over to Fatima. And there are those who love this badass side of Fatima, and I've spoken about it in the previous video I did about did Tyler Perry ruin Fatima, when I talked about whether or not, this new Fatima is it completely out of nowhere? And I say no, because we had elements of this character pointed out to us early in the series, but they were mostly one and done lines. There were moments that if you blinked and you missed it, that's why, you need to pay attention to all the dialogue, even when it's repetitive, because sometimes characters will say things that add to their personality, but we might not see it play out for quite a while. I just feel like when it comes to the badass female, Jasmine was the OG with a bit of craziness sprinkled in there. And Fatima, I feel like her character she has the benefit of having a better material written for her, is the best way to say it. Because remember way back in season 1, I said, or was it early season 2? I forgot which one. But I said, look, Jasmine needs a spinoff. And I wasn't just saying that from a Crystal Lee, I love this woman standpoint. It's just that the character was given so much in terms of, even though she isn't an official sister, I feel like the Jasmine character has more things I want to know about than the other women. What's her relationship like with Gary? Because they barely had any scenes together. And I'm talking like before she was thrown off the parking garage. I mean, what's Gary's house look like? What are their kids? You know, how many? What's the dynamic with his kids? He talks about how she has a crazy ass family, so let's meet them. Leslie, Morris, Bellamy. How exactly did this whole this plan of theirs? How did it start? There are just so many missing pieces that I felt a spin-off series could do, and to me, it feels like Fatima is getting damn near everything that I said Jasmine should have got. So that's the part that has me going, wait a minute, what? It's almost like if you were somebody who knew of the Jackson family when they were first coming up, and, you know, Jermaine was the original lead singer of the group, if I remember correctly, but then Michael swooped in, and then next thing you know, he became the star. So it was like everything that happened to Michael, it's like, wait, that could have been Jermaine. Not really, but you see what I mean, right? So it's almost like it felt like Jasmine was the character being built up to get all this development in a potential spinoff, because the mystery of the character and the fact that she was linked to so many. And I will say that's one of the benefits to Jasmine, where Fatima, her dynamic with Zach is really what makes that character stand out. But then with Jasmine, it's Gary, it's Leslie, Morris, Bellamy, Andy, her children who are never seen, her mother and sister. Well, her sister was only seen once on screen. So you have over half a dozen characters that Jasmine is, you know, connected to. And by showcasing her story, you really get more added to Andy, Gary, and so many others. But with Zach and Fatima, it's just them. Of course, leading into the spinoff, where you're going to have a bunch of characters from their families and personal lives involved. So what I'm saying is, yeah, Fatima is Jasmine 2.0. She's just getting the full treatment, the better material, more appearances, and now a spinoff. So again, this is not a video hating on Fatima. It's just something that I really noticed when I was doing my research. So let me know if you agree. Like I said, this isn't meant to be a Crystal Lee Naomi crush video or anything like that. I'm just pointing out my observations. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. I feel like the moment where Fatima really stole Jasmine's thunder is when she had the gun pointed at her. It's like, do it! And then she comes up with a gun and tries to kill Gary and Andy, but then she fails. But then you see Fatima with the brass knuckles, and she pretty much proved to be more effective against Hayden than Jasmine was against Andy. So yeah. Alright guys, but that's all I have to say for the video. Like I mentioned before, like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description. And if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.